video starts, make sure you follow our socials in the description and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Welcome back to your P Podcast people, back again this week, joined by special guest Harry Bunn. How are you, mate?
Yeah, good, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, very good. I'm very happy you come all the way. You're quite a local lad yourself, aren't you? But you popped over to see us. So yeah, you are a pro footballer, aren't you? Well, you kind of played football last sort of 15 years.
Yeah, I've had a 13-year professional career.
It's not bad.
And then just the last couple of seasons now just dropped out to semi-professional and just doing part-time football. It's
quite popular. We were talking about this like off cam, weren't we, about sort of like the pro players moving into the semi-pro world. Like, it's littered now, isn't it?
Yeah, like every week there's a few like familiar faces. Just lads that you've obviously seen play league football in the past. But yeah, I think that's just the way it's going, and the people that I speak to in non-league are all saying the standard's getting better. And that can only be good for the football in England.
Yeah, it's good for you as well, I suppose, because at the end of the day, you want to kind of have that good competition, don't you? Because when it gets to semi-pro, you're there for fun of it as well, aren't you, really, and kind of getting stuck in. So you're playing for Hyde United at the moment, aren't you?
Yeah, Hyde. So yeah, it's been good. Really enjoying my football. We've had a tough start to the season, but no, we've got a good group, good gaffer. Staff are all good, and I think once we get going, we'll be all right. Yeah.
I like Hyde United because for me, the one I always see on Twitter all the time is their food. So they're quite big for the fan food, aren't they?
Yeah. There's a little burger van in the corner, isn't there? So.
I suppose can you eat that?
That's what we have after
do you actually
games.
do?
Yeah.
Class, because you see all the time. So have you seen Footy Scrans before? The Twitter page. No. So there's like it's a Twitter page called Footy Scrans, and they're massive at the moment.
Yeah.
Just go around random ground and just take pictures of all the food. And Hyde United are on there like once every 2 weeks.
Really? Yeah. I can see why, to be fair. But it is good. Really good setup, to be fair. So yeah, just enjoying it.
Just enjoying it. I'm hoping to kind of push towards promotion this year. Is that sort of like the gaffer's aim?
Yeah, I think so. I think they just missed out on the playoffs last season. I like to think we've improved the squad from what they had last season as well. So I think if we can get into the playoffs, then there'd be no reason why we
can't kick on.
Couldn't kick on again.
Well, you're having a look at. We was talking about all the different teams in there as well. So you've got massive clubs in there. You talk about Bradford Park Avenue. You've got teams like Radcliffe as well.
Yeah,
huge, aren't they?
Yeah, a lot of clubs with big budgets. Obviously got Macclesfield, who are probably 3,000-4,000 fans going to their games. So there's big clubs in there. Obviously you got Bury, who've started again in a couple of leagues below. Who eventually they're gonna be getting promoted and getting back up there. So yeah, it's just probably a good time to be playing non-league because there is a lot of good players out there and a lot of big clubs.
Yeah. How's the transition been from kind of going from full-time to sort of like part-time now? Because have you gone from how often do you train with Hyde United then? Is it a couple of days a week? Or?
Yeah, so we do a Tuesday night, a Thursday night, and then play on a Saturday. Obviously, if you have a game Tuesday, then it's just play Tuesday night, Thursday. But yeah, it's obviously totally different from when I was full-time. Usually it's in Monday, in Tuesday, off Wednesday, in Thursday, Friday, play Saturday. Obviously, when I was at Huddersfield, we were in pretty much every day. So it does vary, but majority of clubs will just do that Wednesday off and a Sunday off.
Yeah, kind of makes sense, I suppose, doesn't it? Because you can't hammer your players, can you? Because otherwise...
No, I mean, the amount of games that, Championship, League 1, League 2 are playing, especially they have the EFL trophy as well, League Cup games, FA Cup games.
It's like nearly 60 games a season now, isn't it?
Yeah, and not every club's got a squad big enough to, start rotating players in and out. So more than likely it's the same lads who play Saturday, Tuesday for maybe 3 weeks on the bounce.
I bet by March you're like, God's sake,
not good. To be fair, the start we've just had, I think we're going into our third week of Saturday, Tuesday games. And you're thinking, like, for the level, I think we should just start a week early. And
of course, and just spread it out a little bit.
Because I think we finished end of April as well. So even if they extended it by a couple of weeks into May.
So that's like playoffs as well. So you'd be looking. So did you finish playoffs sort of like end of May, early June?
I think so. Yeah. But yeah, just I don't know why they don't start a bit early and finish a bit late and just spread it out a bit.
Especially because if people work as well, because we were talking about this as well,
Yeah,
like the whole squad will work now, won't they? So
yeah, it's just obviously like most lads will have 9 till 5. Got a few lads who probably in trades and that, who are doing tough labour jobs during the day. So it does take it out of you. I think that was like the difference. I think you lose a bit of football fitness, but I think the mental side of it, of being at work all day and then having to go and play football, it is a bit different to obviously getting up in the morning, going out training. And
it's a big mentality shift, isn't it, as well?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Because you have work mode, don't you? And you have like football mode, don't you? You've got to kind of just flick in between, haven't you?
Yeah, definitely. And I think when you're not used to working 9 till 5, doing whatever, obviously it catches up with you, after a few weeks, and while you're playing games as well, it is tough.
Yeah, of course it is. But I suppose it's kind of everyone's in the same boat, aren't they, in the league, which also does kind of help.
Yeah.
But I want to go back to sort of like the start of your career as well. So I'm a huge Blue. So you did start off your career kind of throughout your academy at Man City, didn't you?
Yeah. So joined City when I was 9. Before that I played for local side called Upper Mill. So I was lucky enough that my brother's 3 years older than me.
Nice.
So I just used to play football with him and his mate. I was just the tag along.
I suppose that kind of helped. Did that kind of help you?
Yeah.
Well,
When I look back now, it's like best thing for me. Obviously playing with lads who are bigger, stronger, quicker than you. Obviously weren't thinking that at the time. Just joining in. And I don't think there weren't as many clubs about at that time. So like now if you have a look, there's so many under-9s clubs, and they've probably got a B, C, D team, and it was just one team, and it was brilliant for me because I was mixing with lads who were 3 years older than me, which obviously put me in good stead for when I went playing with lads my age. I was lucky enough to go to Man City when I was 9, and probably the best football upbringing I could have had.
You can't really complain really with sort of like the football upbringing, kind of playing.
Yeah.
Because do you like through junior levels? How often do they train? Is it the same as like Tuesday, Wednesday? Thursday?
So we were 2 nights a week and then play on a Sunday, up until that would have been about up until 14, 15, and then you start missing school. So I'd miss a couple of days of school to go in and train during the day, and then play on Saturdays, and then. So that was in year 10 and year 11. And then as soon as I left school, I was in as a scholar for a year at Man City. Obviously signed pro. Straight from leaving school, you're chucked into
straight into deep end, aren't you, really?
And that's it. But it was brilliant. It was loved every second of it. As I said, it was a different club.
Yeah.
When I first started, I think they possibly might have been in the Championship.
Two takeovers, isn't it? You probably had.
Yeah.
Pretty mental, isn't it? Complete changes.
So obviously the second one when I was, I think I must have been about 16. All the big money started.
Shea Mansell came in, yeah.
I think we actually went my under 14s team. We had I think we had about 24 lads, all Manc lads, and around the area. Going from under 14s to under 15s, I think 5 of us got through.
Really? They just kind of started. Did they start bringing people across the nation?
And then, we had Germans, Norwegians, Irish lads, just coming over from everywhere. I think that's when you start to notice.
Clicks on it.
This is it starts to get serious then.
Who were like the big players that you played with at City then?
In my age group, there weren't too many. Loris Karius, the Newcastle keeper, he come for. I think he was there for a year or 2.
I mean, you just said there weren't that many. You just named someone who played in the Champions League final.
I
mean,
other than that, I think Denis Suarez, who was at Arsenal.
Nice, Barcelona.
I think he was a year below me. He came a bit later on, but it was the team. It would have been 3 years above me. It was the FA Youth Cup team.
Oh yes, that was so. Say Greg, that was like Greg's team.
And they were the benchmark of, that was the standard. I remember we'd finish our so where we used to play was Platt Lane. There'd be a front pitch and a back pitch, and the under-16 game would always finish 10 minutes before the under-18s game.
Nice. So you'd be able to catch it.
So you'd finish and you'd try and get over for the last 10 minutes of the under-18s.
Did you all go as a squad then? Was it
pretty
like
much
universal? Yeah.
It was only like a minute walk over. But yeah, just to get 10 minutes of seeing like the likes of Trippier, Ben Mee, David Ball, like all
big players, weren't they?
Yeah, really good side. And obviously they went on to win the Youth Cup.
I mean, most of them made it pro, didn't they? Well, if you look at them now, you've got one England international, you've got Ben Mee in there. Yeah. Ball's in Australia, and he's had a great career over there. Like, you can't complain with it, can you? Really?
I think they had, obviously Sturridge didn't play every week for the 18s, but he was that age group as well. So yeah, they had a phenomenal team. But they really set the benchmark for the academy, I think. And obviously we had great coaches there as well. Who just did things the right way, brought all the lads up as good humans, and if you didn't go on to be a footballer, then
you'd sell for life, really.
Yeah. I think you'd come out with good morals, and it's a good place to be.
How did it sort of change when you started going on loan then? Because you did quite a few sort of like northern clubs, didn't you? So you did Bury, Oldham. Yeah. Were you at Rochdale as well?
Yeah. So first one was Rochdale, which great experience. I think once you have a taste of going out on loan, playing men's football, playing for 3 points on a Saturday, it's quite hard to then go back to. Do you
prefer it? As soon as you went on loan, you were like, I want to be men's football.
That was it. Yeah. We got good crowds at the reserves.
I used to come watch it back at Hyde United, because it was one of them where if you're always local, Tuesday, Wednesday night, if you had because you used to play like cup games and stuff, didn't you?
Yeah.
So it was always easy to kind of pop down, wasn't it?
Yeah. Obviously, we had a good side in that, so we, the fans did come in and watch, but there was just something about playing at 3 o'clock on a Saturday, playing for 3 points. And, I think once I had a taste of it, that was, I wanted to keep going out on loan, and it's probably back then you could do like your emergency loan, your 28-day loans.
Oh, nice, yeah, of course.
So you could just get them. I think you could have up to 3 loans a season. So I've managed to get
as many as you possibly could.
Much, yeah.
So were you kind of consciously going to sort of like reserve team manager, being like, have you got anything for me, or?
Yeah, I think it was a bit of both. I think they would obviously look at lads who they thought were ready to go out on loan as well.
Yeah.
Whether it be, physically, if they thought you were physically ready, then they'd let you go out. Like I said, once you have a taste of that, then it's quite hard to go back and play reserve team football again, and not to motivate yourself, but to get yourself up for maybe
it's like an exhibition match, isn't
it? Sometimes it's a lot slower tempo, and if you watch it now, they like let each other play out from the back, but you go to a League One game or something,
and they'll sprint at you.
It's intense, and it's dog eat dog, and I love that.
Did you sort of find, obviously with going to sort of like them lower league sort of clubs there as well, how different was sort of like the training and sort of the day-to-day aspects rather than the club being run like Man City? Was there a big difference, or was it quite similar?
Weren't too dissimilar in terms of training. Sessions were always good at the clubs that I went to. Obviously facilities weren't as good as what Man City had, but I think that's just the norm.
It just happens, doesn't it? Yeah.
Which you get your head around straight away. I think looking back now, there's a few weird things that had gone on at clubs where like I touched on before. Went signed for Preston, and Graham Wesley came in, and he was a bit different to anything that I'd had before, and I think the lads seem.
Yeah, it's a different characters, isn't it? 'Cause you don't really know. Like, there's a lot of hush about football, wasn't it, back then, where you didn't really know about other people, whereas now you find that characters are more prominent in the game, aren't they?
Yeah, he came in and upset a few lads, and we had the likes of Neil Mellor, who played in the Champions League there at the time, and Graham Wesley came in, started calling himself the medal winner and stuff like that. Looking back now, I don't know what he was thinking about, but you know, just things like that just stick out in your mind when you look back.
When you're looking back, you're like, what happened now in that training session? To be fair, you were brushing sort of, so you mentioned a few players there, so you kind of play with like Neil Mellor sort of. Did you, obviously with you being an attacking sort of player, so you play on the right, don't you?
When I was younger, it was more off the left. So yeah, played left or right or as a number 10 really.
Were you looking, so, cause obviously you were quite young when you were there as well, were you kind of going to people like Mellor and being like, obviously you played for Liverpool, didn't he? He was in the big boy leagues.
Yeah.
Did you use them as like your inspiration sort of thing?
Yeah, a little bit. I think obviously going back to Man City when I was in the reserves, you know, you're in the same building as some real big hitters.
Yeah.
You know, like your Agueros, Tevez.
So were you like,
James Milner.
when you were training with them, did you go for like meals with them and stuff, sort of like a dinner or?
Yeah, share the same canteen.
Yeah.
So you could sit with them and talk to them and that. It's just yeah, that's what I mean. When the money started to come in, it's just a different world. Like I remember when obviously Tevez went, he just went missing, didn't he? For a bit.
Of course, yeah.
So it was under Mancini. He came back and I think he played a couple of games in the reserves. So he's obviously like got the chance to play with him in a reserve game. Which obviously, like looking back now again, it's mad to think.
What was he like in that reserve game? Because you kind of see he's a bit here and there, but was he still top notch?
Yeah, he's top notch. Say he hadn't probably kicked the ball for a few months as well. You know, he's different class, but obviously just getting the chance to train with him as well. You know, like your Silvers and Yaya Toure. You know, probably some of the best players to play in the Premier League.
Yeah.
You know, you get the chance to train with them. I think it was just a big wake up call to make you realise like the standard, you know, what is the standard of that, and yeah, it was a brilliant experience.
I suppose it is. I suppose it kind of sets you up as well because you go to these lovely clubs and you're like, well, I play Carl Tevez. I mean,
yeah.
We've seen him rip you apart. Why can't I?
Yeah, that was it. It's just like I said, it's just a different world, and probably didn't notice it much at the time. It was just kind of you're in the moment and you're just going in, getting on with it.
Yeah.
It's probably not till after and you look back and you think like,
Jesus, yeah.
What a good opportunity, you know, good experience that was. And you know, obviously really thankful that I had the chance to do that.
Was there any sort of first teamers in particular who kind of really helped out the academy lads, or was it mainly just left to the coaches?
Mainly left to the coach. They're all good. Obviously your English lads were really good. Like the Nader Manua, who's always good to talk to. Played against Nader in the Championship like later on in my career, and always had time to speak to him, and he was always good. But then obviously James Milner was always good. Michael Johnson, who obviously, you know, went a different way, but he was
class football, wasn't he? When he came through, he was unreal.
Yeah. I think there was one pre-season we went in, and I think we had Nader Manua, Steve Nile, and Michael Johnson, Craig Bellamy, Santa Cruz, Wayne Bridge.
Jesus Christ.
All training with the reserves. And it's just like...
Wow.
Yeah, you know... and they were all good. They were on it, they did everything properly, and you know, they set the standard for us, really.
Yeah, and it definitely helps you, I suppose, and it helps you improve as a player, kind of moving forward. So I wanted to touch quite a bit on, so obviously when you left Man City, you found yourself at Huddersfield Town, didn't you?
Yeah.
And you were there for a good few years, weren't you?
Yeah, I was there for, I think signed in the January, so just before I left City, I did my knee. I was on loan at Crewe. Ended up doing my cruciate and my lateral ligament.
Oh Jesus!
So I was out for a year with that. And I had to have 2 operations on that. So that was obviously tough to get through, and you know, looking back, probably thankful that I was still at Man City at the time.
Yeah.
Worked pretty much 1-to-1 basis with a physio. Robin Sadler, he's at Man United now. Probably one of the best physios in the country. So you know, I had the chance to do all my rehab every day with him. So he got me back, and you know, obviously Man City then said to me, "You've got 6 months left on your contract. You won't get another year. You can go now and try and get something, or wait till the end of the season. I just think
might as well go. Yeah, I'll be with you. What's the point in kind of staying around training when you can? 6 months in football is a long time. You can kind of make your name for yourself, can't you?
And fair enough. I think at that point the players that I just named who they had in the first team. You're going to find it hard to get into Man City's first team. And obviously an opportunity came up at Huddersfield. Originally it was for the under-23s at Huddersfield. So my old coach Steve Eyre, who had me at Man City, he then moved on to Huddersfield.
Nice.
So he obviously asked me to just go and play for their 23s, try to get my fitness back again after my knee. Fortunately it did well. Ended up signing another year deal at Huddersfield, and managed to get into the first team and start that season.
Yeah, because they were in the Championship back then, weren't they?
Yeah.
So
so I think towards obviously the lower lower bit of the league, I think like 16th, 17th around there. But a really professional group of lads. Your likes of Peter Clark, who's played
Oldham, he's been here everywhere, hasn't he?
800, 900 games, I think. He's
still playing now, isn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
He's still playing.
Had a top career. So there's some good characters there. Again, for me to learn from. Managed to get into the first team, and to be fair, hit the ground running in that first year. I got a chance. Probably, I think, scored 9 in 20-something starts.
Nice.
So yeah, for a 22-year-old to be chucked in that and do that was obviously put me in good stead then.
Yeah, moving forward as well, especially because Championship is a very high standard. Let's just say that even back then it's very, very high standard.
Yeah, it's a relentless league. There's no easy games. The standard's probably even better now than it was when I was there. But I mean, you're going away to Leeds, Notts Forest, Watford. Like back to back, these just thick and fast. These big clubs, and again, just look back and think what a great experience that was. Yeah, of course,
especially for a 22-year-old lad as well.
Yeah.
Do you think your injury made you a bit hungry, Like, do you know when you went to Huddersfield? Because working your way up, it's not hard for you to...
I think so. I didn't have any major injuries before that point. And obviously, I think I was 19 when I did it. I think I'd seen other lads do the knees, and obviously you feel for them, but I always thought that won't happen to me, and then it happens. And I remember going to see the surgeon. So I did it on the Saturday, went to see the surgeon on the Monday, and he said to me, there's a chance that you won't play again. And I remember him saying that, thinking,
God's sake,
and I was in tears, 19, thinking that's it, done. And I just think getting in with the physios every day, I just think you think I'm doing this for a reason now. You're putting this much effort in, I need to make something of
chance,
it. I think it did. I think the other side of that, I think in the back of my head, then you're always thinking, how much longer, until the next one. Because I don't think you're the same once you have an injury like that. I think it does take maybe a harder pace off you, and maybe not straight away, but I think later on, because it disrupts your hamstrings and it's not just your knee, it's everything else that comes with it at a later stage. Looking back, it definitely made me more hungry to go on and do something, but I think equally as well it might have took a bit off me as well.
Took a bit as well. Did you sort of have to learn to adapt your game? Because obviously a 22-year-old winger, you've got to, traditionally you're quite quick, aren't you? Quick pace winger. Did you have to find yourself sort of adapt your game?
A little bit. I got into the gym quite a bit more. Doing a lot of leg weights more, try and just build my pace back up and
turn yourself into a brick shithouse, really. You saw Peter Clark, didn't you, at centre half, and thought, I want to be as big as him.
Just tried to adapt really, and lucky enough, I did well at Huddersfield. I thought, and ended on a high really with the promotion to the Premier League. That was obviously a standout point in my career, to be part of a a team that gets promoted to the Premier League. There's not many lads that can look back.
But you had some good players in that team as well. Was that Aaron Moy?
Yeah, Aaron Moy. He was probably the best. Really, really gifted footballer. Both feet. Almost just like everything just slowed down when he had the ball. But when we signed him, I don't think anyone knew much about him. I think he'd been in Australia playing out there. So it wasn't. We didn't really have any big names. Just a really good group who stuck together, and I think we were probably second favourites, third favourites to get relegated that year. So to go on and did what we did was obviously massive.
It's quite prominent that happens nowadays, doesn't it? Because if you look at Luton Town's another example, aren't they? Just most recently, they just got up out of nowhere. And it happens quite a lot, doesn't it? Where you just
definitely. I think that just having that togetherness, it goes a long way. And we definitely had that. Just going back to that season at the start of the year, we went on a mad a pre-season trip. We went to I think it was like Norway, Sweden.
Class.
But it was a survival camp. So we've usually
what SAS Who Dares Win sort of shit?
Usually your bog standard pre-season would be like you go out, it's football, a bit of running and your football. So we've obviously flown out there, got on this bus, and I think someone's got on the bus and with a bag and said, everyone put your passports and phones in. You're not going to need them. So I had to slowly, obviously, doing
what's happening here?
What's going on here? And we ended up getting to this campsite. It's just tents. This is 11 at night now.
So nothing else there?
Yeah, nothing there. And
who was manager at the time? Was it
David Wagner?
And eccentric as well,
yeah,
isn't
so I think that season he'd brought in about 11, 12 foreign lads.
Mm-hmm.
So the point of the exercise was pair up with someone you don't know, so a foreign lad. You're sharing a tent with them tonight.
Clever idea, that.
In the morning, you tell me 3 things that you know about them. So and every night you'd have to change, so you'd have to be with someone else. We were probably there 4 nights or something.
Nice.
But during the day, it'd be get your canoe out. You'd have to canoe to another island, set your
Class.
tent back up. Lads out fishing, catching fish to then eat later. And
so that massively sort of helped you going into the season?
I think so.
Then?
Yeah. Look, at the time, thinking
what the fuck's
what are we doing here? But yeah, obviously, looking back, it must have had an effect. And it obviously did help us going forward.
Who were you partnered up with? Do you remember?
A few of the German lads, I think. Just all,
I suppose
all a bit of
German lads are good to partner up with though, because they speak good English.
Yeah,
you kind of got off there really well, didn't you?
Luckily, they're all the lads that he brought in were good lads. And like I said, we did have a really good group. But I just think that was probably something that at the time you think, what are we doing here? But then at the end you see the promotion and you look back and you think it probably did have an effect.
It's a mad story, you don't hear you don't hear about sort of stuff.
I've obviously never done it since and not heard of anyone else doing it.
I mean, it worked, didn't it? He took a team who was supposed to be relegated straight into the Premier League. It doesn't happen every day. Should we a quick break right there? On part 2, I want to dive a bit more into sort of your time and players you played against and such, and I want to touch on your dad as well, because you grew up in a football dominated household, didn't you? Let's just say that. But we're back in part 2. Thank you very much. Part 2, and we are back, joined again by Harry. You've not gone anywhere, have you? Which is always you've not run out. Just had a little bit of a break, so I wanted to kind of dive into a little bit about sort of your upbringing, because let's just say it's an unconventional sort of way into football, really. Because your dad's Frankie Bunn, isn't he?
Yeah, obviously, again, just normal for me. But looking back, it's obviously been brilliant having him there. He still comes to my games now. Still gives me advice.
Is it hard with your dad being a coach, though?
No, just because it's always been the norm.
Just normal for you.
I've not known any different. I think when I look back now, when I was growing up, there was always that, you only play football because your dad's a coach, or you only at City because your dad's...
It's fucking annoying, ain't it?
And there was all that, but at the time it doesn't bother me now. Do you know what I mean?
Well, mate, it's not true. You got 200 football league appearances.
You know
I mean,
what
you said it hard, didn't it?
But I just always had that there, and it probably put me in good stead. The older I've got, whenever someone's had a pop at me, it's it's fine. It's not a problem. Do you know what I mean? It's never affected me or bothered me. But at the same time, obviously, it was great for me having him around, and I think even when I look back at when I used to watch games with him, just on the TV, I'd just be asking him questions about the game, and
like a sponge, really, just find himself naturally.
He's probably thinking fucking hell, just let him watch
it's
the
not
game.
my job here. I'm trying to.
But I think I picked up quite early that it's going to be pretty useful having someone who's done what he's done in the game, and he's obviously the UEFA Pro license coach. You can't get any higher than that.
His playing career as well, right?
Yeah. So it's obviously, for me, brilliant. For advice and everything else. It's
can't really complain with it, can you? I suppose. First thing my dad said when I said he was coming on, he was like, Bunn, Frankie Bunn. So my dad's at that age where he was like, I used to watch. Because he was like, back when you were a City fan, back in the 80s, if City weren't playing, you go and watch Oldham, wouldn't you?
That was it.
I can. So my dad was fucking buzzy. He was like, oh my God, no way.
Yeah, I get it all the time, to be fair.
Yeah.
Just 'cause you're obviously well known around our area. If you go out and anyone probably over 40.
Yeah.
I was there when he scored 6 goals. Everyone seems to have been there that night.
Oh, of course, yeah. 10,000 capacity and 20,000 people spoke to you about it.
Yeah.
So Joe, with your career, so you kind of relatively stayed sort of northern, sort of northwest sort of teams. Yeah. Was that always did that just happen by chance, or was it always something that you kind of strove to?
Yeah, a bit of both. I think obviously you always feel more comfortable being at home. Mm-hmm. I just think that's quite a natural thing for anyone. You probably want to stay at home.
Yeah.
And it's probably not till obviously the Bury stuff happened. I was on loan down at Southend at the time, and I loved it down at Southend. To be fair, it was a brilliant football club, great area to live in. Really loved it. But then the following season, found myself signing for Kilmarnock. And
that's a change, innit? Going from Southend to Kilmarnock.
And it was just one of them. It was, from one year to the next year, thousands of miles away, or hundreds of, not thousands, but hundreds of miles away. And it's just, when I did sign for Kilmarnock, my wife was, she was pregnant at the time.
But that must have been a big decision then to move away that far.
So it was, so going back to it, was I signed for Kilmarnock in the January, and we made the decision that we were going to move up there. So we put the house up for sale, and I think the house sold in March, and then COVID hit.
Oh shit, yeah.
So I think we sold our house, COVID hit a week later, football season done. We had an apartment up in Kilmarnock. I'm thinking need to get home. So ended up coming back home. But that was probably the one chance that we were going to try and
move away and sort of make
away. Just because my wife's carried on with her career throughout mine. She's a secondary school teacher.
Nice.
So she's worked all the way through. So it was never really an interest of ours to move away. Up until that point, just as obviously my wife gave birth while I was at Kilmarnock as well.
It's mental that COVID happened just as you made a decision to move away. And you thought, let's just go straight back then.
So that's probably played a small part in me going part-time as well. Mm-hmm. After I left Scunthorpe, there was chances of you going back up to Scotland or going down south, but
young family, ain't you?
Yeah, I've got two young kids at home, and it's a big ask to ask my wife to quit a job to move the boys away from their grandparents, all for what a 1 year contract at a club. And I think that's where I've, made the decision that probably need to put family first. I'm not saying that's the sole reason, but it's probably
It probably played a big factor into it. It's got to, hasn't it?
Yeah, played a big part in it. And it's given me a chance to obviously look at starting a new career as well.
And you never know, do you? Because you were saying you started doing your coaching badges, hadn't you? So is that an avenue you sort of looking?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Obviously, like halfway through UEFA B badge at the minute. So hopefully I can try and get that done quickly. Again, it's all I've known. It's what my dad did.
Yeah.
My mum worked in education. My dad was obviously football coach. Mm-hmm. So they're probably the only two things that I've really known. My brother's a teacher as well. Wife's a teacher.
Right. So it's all in a big circle for you.
Yeah. Everything's either education or football. So yeah, I'd love to stay in the game, and I'll look to get my coaching badges done. Just because, I love football, and it's given me so much as well. All the opportunities that I've had, I've gone on, trips abroad with football, and played against some good players, some big names, and had some great moments. Scoring goals, across the country. And
great career, haven't you? Really, you can't complain about your career.
Yeah, some good moments. So hopefully, that can carry on for when I go into coaching as well.
Yeah, I suppose it'd be perfect, wouldn't it? So you're looking to sort of like, because everyone's got an approach to coaching, haven't they? Are certain managers that you played under, are they going to have a factor in how you coach people? Do you reckon, or?
Yeah, I think so. Again, just going back to obviously with my dad being a coach, I think quite early on I picked up on.
How to talk to people.
Yeah, I could pick his brains on certain stuff, and I took that on quite early. So dead young, I'd be asking him questions all the time. What would you do in that situation? And I think even when I had a manager that I didn't necessarily get on with, I could still learn something from them.
See where they know the game.
Yeah, I could still pick positives out of them, and obviously I'd avoid what I thought their negatives were as well. But been lucky enough to work with some good coaches and some good managers. So obviously, I'd like to think that I've picked up
good traits anyway to move
good traits from them. Yeah.
What sort of like the managers? What's been your favourite manager? Like who have you played under and thought, yeah, you really impacted my career quite significantly?
I think obviously going back to my dad.
Yeah, obviously.
And my dad he's been the main factor, the biggest impact. Was lucky enough to work for Chris Powell.
Oh, nice! Yeah, I bet Chris is a good coach.
Yeah,
he seems a good guy as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, brilliant.
Seems a good guy. He's.
Yeah, no, he's a top fella. Really nice fella, and just filled his players with confidence. And it's probably where I played my best football. When I had him at Huddersfield, obviously I was only a young lad, but he was brilliant for me at the time, and his assistant Alex Dyer as well.
No, it really kind of sets you up there.
Yeah, them two are brilliant. And also I had Steve Eyre, who I'd had at Man City throughout, nice. who moved on to Huddersfield. So, that group, I think, were a massive impact on me. And obviously I had Chris again at Southend. And,
nice.
And I had Alex Dyer as assistant. He took me to Kilmarnock as well. So I owe him all a lot. They've all played a massive. They've all had a massive impact on my career.
Sort of moving around. Do you find, how does it work sort of like the non-league? Because non-league is quite prominent with managers bringing in lots of players as well. So is the reason you signed for Hyde, have you worked with a manager before, or is it just a case of club?
No, I've not worked with him before, but I know of him. He's obviously Nick Spooner's he's a footballing man. He's been in the game for a long time, and his assistant's Gav McCann. Played for England, I think Everton, Sunderland, Bolton.
Big, yeah.
Great career. So two blokes who are mad about football, and two very good coaches. I think will kick on in the game as well. To be fair, I think that there's nothing that splits them apart from coaches that I've had in the football league.
Really? So there's not that big of a difference, really?
No, with them two, I think they're
could easily make the step up.
Yeah, definitely. You know, they know the football inside out. So I think it just comes down to an opportunity and getting, you know, the right club at the right time. I think that's massive in going into coaching and managing. You know, obviously, majority of jobs that come up, you're taking over a bad side that need picking up. You know, it's very rare you get to take over a side that's winning.
Of course, yeah. Unless you're Pep Guardiola. I mean, that's...
Yeah, unless you're Pep. But, you know, I feel a lot of football... I think the playing side as well, it's about timing. You know, getting your chance at... You know, getting the right opportunity at the right time is a massive part of it.
I suppose it's always going to make a factor into. You need to make sure that... So you put yourself out there as well, I suppose. Because, like, people like shying away from jobs. You don't really see it that much anymore, do you?
No. There's... I think especially in non-league now, I think people are starting to see a bit of a route as well. There has been, you know, recently, you know, managers getting jobs at non-league and getting into the football league.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, the jobs do come up, and I think you find that, you know, some managers now they'll have a good year somewhere and they'll already be looking to, you know, go to the next...
Go up the pyramid.
Go up to the next level. But you can't blame anyone for
no, of course you can't. At the end of the day, like that's what non-league is for, really.
Yeah.
It's for sort of like experience, sort of building up and working your way through there.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think with the young lads as well in non-league, I think a lot of lads are more accepting of non-league football now. I think, especially probably when I was a bit younger, it was not frowned upon, but you didn't want to go to non-league because you know you might get stuck there and that might be it. But I think now lads are seeing that there is a pathway. You know, you get your games in non-league and you can go and kick on, and you know if you're a striker, you score a few goals in non-league, someone's always going to take you. Yeah, and if you're good enough, you're good enough. I suppose you put your name out there, you never know. Do you feel like the world of online content has helped that? Like, for example, like Hyde, I know Hyde film their games, they put their goals out on Twitter all the time. Do you think that helps with sort of the young players coming through? Yeah, possibly. Again, just going back to what you said, I think if you're good enough, you're good enough. If you're scoring goals, someone's always going to take you. If you're playing well, someone will always take a punt on you. So yeah, it probably does help a little bit. But I think ultimately, you know, if
talent is there in it, and obviously hard work as well. Hard work.
I think if you're performing and you know you've got good traits and scouts can see that you're doing well and you're performing, then you'll always get a move. Yeah,
kind of makes sense. But what's your opinion on these sort of like online teams that are coming to fruition now? Because I was talking to you before, I don't really watch TV, I watch online content. So teams like #United, I watch them like all the time now. I think it's like fascinating to see a football club from that side. Yeah. You obviously got the lads who going into like the TikTok side, like Waltham and Hersham, like teams like that who are step 5, step 6 sides, and they've got more followers than Southend.
Yeah,
and they actually do hashtag as the biggest team in Essex technically by social media.
Yeah, I think it's changing football. It is definitely changing. I think it's hard to say whether it's a good thing or a bad thing.
Yeah, because
I think it can go either way, can't it? Depends which way you look at it. I think in the right amount, it's not a problem. You know, like people enjoy watching it and people are interested in it. It's good for football. You know, there's been times where I think it's similar to the boxing where I think they might have started to go a bit too far with it.
Yeah.
They're getting YouTubers against YouTubers, and it's
different now.
It's outselling the main product, which is your big fights. I don't think they could do that with football, because I think football's probably too big of an animal to
it's more well running it. Like if you look at teams like #, they've got Jay Deverell, who's been around his whole career at non-league. Yeah. They've got like non-league players as well. Like all of their team are a proper season, not like semi-pros, aren't they?
But yeah, it's fair play to them, isn't it? You know, they've seen a gap in the market where they can, get a club together and make something out of it. So yeah, fair play to them.
Especially when you look at like the FA Cup as well. Like That's probably you had your draw today, did you? Have you seen it?
Yeah, Clitheroe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How does the FA Cup draw work? And is it? Do you know for early qualifying rounds? Do you stick to Northern?
I think so. Yeah. I think it's regional at first, and then obviously the more rounds you get through, it's then opens up.
Sort of grows from there.
Yeah.
Is that a competition you're looking at this year? Like, I want to get a big team in here.
Yeah, I'd like to. I think last year when I was at Buxton, we.
Oh shit! You got to the first round, didn't you?
Yeah, we did all right. We drew Ipswich away.
That's an Ipswich.
Yeah.
Bloody good.
Just disappointed that they put us on TV. It was on a foreign channel, I think.
Yeah.
On a Sunday night. So it was one of them we thought, we might get prime time, Saturday afternoon or something like that. But it's still nice to go down to Ipswich, and it was another good experience. So hopefully, we can draw another
just
big
kick
one.
on and go from there. When is it 4 qualifying round when National League come in?
I'm not sure, to be fair. Could
Yeah.
be,
So you've got a couple games.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, get a few, and then obviously I think your league clubs start coming first round.
Yeah, first, second, and then moving forward.
Your big hitters are third round, I think.
So you're looking at you. Speaking of kind of like the big hitters, you had quite a famous FA Cup sort of performance, didn't you? Where you scored a goal at City, didn't you?
Yeah. Just said before, probably the worst thing I've
yeah.
done. But no, obviously, going back to Man City, it was, just what a good opportunity to go back. And
was it a bit weird walking into like the away dressing room, seeing the players off you, being like, I know you.
No, obviously the changing room weren't a problem. I'd not been, I'd only made first team appearances on pre-season friendlies for the first team, so it weren't like, I'd been in the own dressing room before.
You weren't walking into the old dressing room, I was saying.
No, none of that. But yeah, it was just nice to, obviously as a kid you dream of playing, for me I dreamt of playing at the Etihad. So it was kind of a different route to get there. And obviously, to get the goal was brilliant, albeit 8 minutes in, and then they just went through the gears, and they were a different level. Obviously, it was Pep's first season there. But I think we said before the front three was Sane, Aguero, and Sterling. So what?
Not bad, is it?
Yeah. What can you do? The probably Premier League teams that probably concede more than what we did that night.
How was it playing against Zabaleta then? Because you were up against sort of like one of the most iconic right backs in Premier League history.
Yeah, tough test. Obviously, he was there when I was a reserve player there. So I had trained with him previously, and brilliant professional, and did everything. Pretty much everything in the game. But yeah, a good challenge again, and one that I look back at with fond memories really, and delighted that I managed to get my goal.
I mean, you can't complain with that, can you? You get a goal in it and you're like, here we go. I know you said it was a bit early and they kind of went through there.
Yeah.
But
I think mates still say now the keeper should have saved it.
Straight away.
One of them. Yeah.
See, guys, even pro footballers get bullied by the mates. It happens to us all.
That's it. But yeah, no, obviously, it was brilliant, and I look back at their team and De Bruyne playing, and Otamendi, and he's obviously a World Cup winner now. So
you've got World Cup winners in there. You've got Champions League winners. You've got Premier League winners.
John Stones was playing. Yeah, it was a good outfit. So.
Did you get to train with like John Stones? Because he would have been sort of like just as you.
Yeah, he came after I left. So he was, I think the centre halves at the time were Company and Lescott, and I was there.
Just Company,
but again, mate, they're just a conveyor belt of talent.
Talent is just a joke, innit?
Yeah, they sell one world class player, they bring in another, don't they? So.
Yeah. Do you know, like, so coming away from sort of like football then to like your personal life and stuff, is Joe obviously being football heavy from growing up? Is there any other sports that you watch sort of religiously now? Or is it just sort of like only football for you?
I'd say football's the main one. I do like my rugby league.
Oh, nice. Who do you follow? Wigan, Salford?
Huddersfield.
Huddersfield?
Yeah, but I've got a mate who plays for for Giants, so I'll look out for him.
Nice. I've been Huddersfield away with Wigan.
Have you?
I've done a few Wigan aways actually.
Yeah.
I've done Huddersfield. I've also watched a GB game there.
Yeah.
I've done Rhinos away. That was class. It was class. Yeah. I've done St Helens away. Do you have a new ground they've got?
Yeah.
Class there.
Yeah.
Terrace. Drink where you want.
Yeah.
Full of rough people. So did you follow? Them a lot then?
Yeah, follow it. I think it's great to watch.
Agreed.
And it just surprised me how they don't get bigger crowds.
Agreed. Yeah.
Because I think it's good watching it on TV, but go and watch it live. I think it's even better. So yeah, take a bit of interest in rugby, and then try to dabble at golf. But
yeah.
Everyone does, don't they?
Pro footballer, innit? It's like the thing you have to like golf for you, bro. I swear it's like a resume. Some clubs like, you've got to play golf.
So tried my hand at that. I've not played now.
What was your handicap? Or do you know what I'm saying?
I think got down to 20, 26, 24.
That's not bad. That's better than people I work with. That is better than people I work with.
I think I played for about a year, 2 years to get it down to that. So I weren't good.
It's hard though, innit?
Oh,
so rock solid. I don't get how hard it is.
You do a good shot and then you follow it up with just
skew it,
losing your ball, don't you?
Yeah.
But yeah, tried that. But yeah, to be fair, mate, it's just football, and obviously having two young lads now at home. I think most of my time's probably took up with them two, and taking them to the park and just doing stuff like that.
Are you sort of like hoping one day that they make it into sort of follow your journey with because obviously you had your dad.
Yeah.
I suppose they're going to have dad and granddad.
Yeah.
Conflicting opinions on the sideline.
Yeah. Honestly, it wouldn't bother me. If they're happy to do it, then they're happy to do it. I'd never force them down a path. Because it's cutthroat as well. As good as football's been to me, I've seen the
dark side.
The ugly side of it, if you like. And I've seen a lot of good lads, good footballers, come really close to making it and not making it. Mm-hmm. And you get to 18, 19, and where do you go from there?
Get dropped, don't they, a lot of the time? Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a tough industry. You're talking about the 1% of whatever academy players getting into the first team, whatever it is. You've got to be
top. You got to be like top of the range, haven't you?
You've got to be good, and I think going back to timing as well. You haven't just got to be good. You've got to have time. You've got to have a bit of luck as well on your side, and it's all got to come together.
Hey, get him into rugby, mate.
Possibly.
There's some. I was having a look at. I think it was St Helens. I saw him like St Helens team, and like majority of the team are just normal lads. They're just local lads. Yeah.
It's like a northern sport, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's like just
great.
A cut off, isn't there?
Yeah.
Just
there was a couple of London teams, weren't there? And they've all kind of had to rebrand. But if you think about it, you've got Widnes, you've got Lee, Wigan, St Helens, Hull KR, Huddersfield, Leeds, Wakefield, Bradford. That's 10. That's 10 in the north already. It's mental, isn't it?
Yeah. But just. Going back, I'm surprised it's not a bigger sport because I find it brilliant to watch and fascinating, and the tackles and
it's good fun.
I see them tackling each one. I'm just thinking, how they getting round walking the next stage? Getting up and doing it again, and my hat goes off to them because I know how tough football is. I wake up sometimes the next day after a game
thinking, imagine getting whacked by 6'5".
Yeah, that's it.
Huge guy.
I think my only thing is they probably know they're going to get it, so
they
brace themselves a bit. But even so, it's a tough sport, isn't it?
It is a tough sport. It's good. I'm with you though. I love to watch rugby league. Whenever I can, I always watch it. Definitely, and I suppose they're built a little bit different, aren't they, than us? Like,
a bit bigger, aren't they?
A bit big. Just for people who don't know about height, we're actually 6'4", aren't we? Don't Wikipedia. Is your height going to be on Wikipedia?
Yeah, I think it is. Might need to edit it.
Don't worry, I'll put you on the thumbnail. I'll make you 5 times as big. We'll go from there. But massive thank you for coming down, mate. I think we'll end it on that. We'll end on a couple of questions, actually. One question I've not asked for a while, and people have been asking me where it goes to. So, big advocate of Greg's.
Right.
Do you know the joint? Thank
I'm
you.
aware of him, yeah.
I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
Obviously, with you being a pro athlete, I'm presuming you didn't really get a chance to eat a lot of Greggs back in your day.
No.
Say if I took you into Greggs right now, what are you ordering?
Well, to be fair, going back to your obviously saying pro athlete, it wasn't until I got to York.
Right, okay.
So I signed for York and we had a car school. It was a good car school, but it's a bit of a trek for us to get up to York.
Well, it's not
in the morning, so we were setting off quite early.
Were they all based sort of in and around Manchester, the lads?
Yeah, so there's lads coming over from Liverpool, to be fair. So
fucking
car school would start in Liverpool, come across Manchester, cross Saddleworth, and then up to York.
Jesus, that's a busy car.
It was an early start for some of the boys. So obviously they wouldn't have had the breakfast and that. So it did turn into a bit of a ritual, stopping off at Greggs, getting a bacon butty and a coffee for, I think the deal was £2.40 at the time.
Oh, it's a joke, innit? It's such a joke.
Which I've not seen that deal elsewhere, to be
No.
fair, so it'd probably be that.
So you big breakfast, if you've always been in for a breakfast sort of guy.
Yeah.
But you can't complain with that,
Bacon muffin and a coffee, £2.40.
Can't complain at all, 100%. And then also, we mentioned a lot of players here that you've kind of played with. Who is that one player, well, let's say a couple players out there that really stood out to you as being technically the best footballers you played with?
Played with probably like Aaron Moy when I was at Huddersfield with him. Seeing him day in, day out. I think he's just recently retired.
Yeah.
But brilliant career. Both footed, like I said before, just seems to time slowed down when he got on the ball.
What about playing against them? Was there any sort of defenders or any even attackers that you looked at and you were like,
I think obviously when we played against City Aguero in that game, he scored a hat trick. So Aguero's Aguero, and he's, you can't say anything else about him. But yeah, there's been loads that over the years that have been really tough to play against. You likes of Joey Barton, played against Scott Parker. When I went to Scotland, there was Scott Brown at Celtic.
Oh,
a lot of people be like, he's all right, but playing against him, he was unbelievable. To be fair, and he's probably coming towards the end of his career at that point. But that type of player, like your Joey Barton, your Scott Brown, probably not technically or anything ridiculously special, but just the way that they moved around the pitch and controlled games and always speaking to the referee and almost reffing the game themselves. Just probably they just stood out a little bit just of how they.
I like that because no one ever says players like that. Everyone's always like, oh yeah, I love Leroy Sané, players like that. But actually, sort of seeing the football from a footballer's sort of perspective.
Yeah, because I think there's players scattered all over the country that on the day they're magnificent. I think it comes down to. Obviously, played against City, you've got the likes of De Bruyne and players like that who are doing it week in, week out. But there's lads in League One, League Two on the day can conjure up some magic. And obviously, I'm not saying they're as good as Premier League players.
Just consistency sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. But playing against and just finding it tough to play against the names that I mentioned before, like your Bartons and Scott Parker's, Scott Brown, players like that were just good competitors who just ran games and reffed games themselves really and
want to win.
Got their teams over the line and we're winners really.
Excellent. Well, we'll end on there. It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for spending time with us today. If you are watching on YouTube, make sure you like, comment and subscribe to never miss an episode. If you're on Spotify, 5-star review please. It really does help push the podcast. Check out Harry as well. I'll link all his socials in the description. And we shall see you next week. Cheers, mate.
Nice one. Thank you.